I got lucky, right? And so part of my passion is I did not have the same experience that most agents have when they get into the business. And it was just luck. It wasn't, I can't
Right.
say it was like, oh, yeah, I planned it that way. But, I always tell people free is currency.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?
Hi everyone, I'm Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast. Today I'm here with Jon Harp. Jon's a seasoned realtor leading a successful real estate team in Columbus, Ohio. He has over 5 years of experience and consistently sells millions of dollars in property annually. So, Jon, I'll leave it at that because I always like having the guests tell their story. But first, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time out to come chat with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. And, I'm looking forward to it. I love connecting with other people in the real estate space. And, I love this topic, know your why. And I think that why is probably one of the hardest questions to answer, I think. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. And so I also believe that it changes, with time. But a little bit about me, actually, I have more than 5 years of experience. I've been licensed since 2011. And selling real estate here in Columbus, Ohio. I went to college. I was one of the college kids that went to college and never used their degree. I'm also one of those people that, got into real estate because HGTV was becoming the popular TV show back then. And, you saw all of those flipping shows and you're like, man, I want to make that much money on a flip. Right. And so, got into the real estate space to kind of understand the investing world and figured that I would learn the real estate side first, the real estate agent side first. And, just so happened that the real estate agent side stuck and I've done the investing on the side. Right. So I've been doing real estate full time since 2011. What I've learned over the years is I just love helping real estate agents more than I love helping people buy and sell houses. And so I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that. And, that kind of leads into, really understanding my why and what I want to try to accomplish here, within the real estate industry.
Sure. The thing says 5 years, but 2011 that's well more than 5 years. So I didn't mean to sell you short there. Not that 5 years is a short time, but it's interesting because I think one of the questions that I hear get thrown out there a lot is like, do I need my real estate license to invest in real estate? And I think the simple answer is no. However, a lot of people do end up with their real estate license, kind of, obviously, if you want to be on the, transactional side of it, that's one thing. I wonder if you could speak a little bit about, sort of if your idea in the beginning was, I'm going to get my real estate license to become an investor. How do you feel, or what do you feel the answer to that question is, and maybe tie it into kind of your career and experiences?
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that is, that you need to do. For me, I think it literally was just me coming out of a school setting and understanding that I probably need to learn, in a school setting, so to speak. So, you go and you get your real estate license. But I think the biggest thing with that piece is you really finding I'm all about modeling success, right? Really finding someone, whether it's in the investing space or, as a real estate agent that you want to copy, right? That's doing it the way that you want to do it. So for example, there's different ways to invest, there's Airbnb type investing. There are buy and hold type investing. There are flips, multifamily, single family, so I don't need to go and copy someone that's in the Airbnb space if I'm trying to do single family residential flips. Right. And then even within those spaces, right, it's kind of like in my industry, there's a lot of different options, right? A lot of different people. And so, one of the keys is finding the right mentor for you that is doing it the way that you want to do it, that's doing it at a higher level than you, and ultimately doing it the way that you want to, however you want to handle your business, doing it that way.
Yeah. And so is that kind of how you started with in a pursuing mentors, I guess, in whatever fashion that might look like?
No, I got lucky. So what happened was, I decided, okay, I graduated college and quickly realized that what I went to school for wasn't going to pay me what I thought I was worth back then. And so, I was a 22-year-old cocky college kid, and everyone says my degree is supposed to be worth something, and then go to find at that time, and it's not like the job market was terrible, but it wasn't on fire either, right? And I quickly realized that what I wanted to make as an income and what I thought my degree was supposed to be worth wasn't going to be in my career field or what I went to school for.
Sure.
And so what I did is I just randomly found people online on Google, and just emailed people in my marketplace. I didn't know who they were: real estate agents, office managers, anything like that. And one person replied, and her name's Tracy Chambers, and she's still in the business in my market. And so shout out to Tracy. But I interviewed with her, and she said, "Hey, I got a young guy that's looking to build a team, and I think that you would work with him. I think you guys would mesh." And so that happened to be my mentor, my team lead. I'm still with him. I'm still with him 13 years later, which is uncommon in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
And continue. We talk literally every single day, multiple times a day. And over the last 13 years, we built up our real estate team to be number 2 in our marketplace. We're number 2 right now in all of Columbus with transactions sold, and we're super happy with that, because we're not only are we impacting the lives of buyers and sellers and our clients, but we're also impacting the lives of real estate agents that we're bringing on board. And that's my passion.
Yeah, that's great. And fortunate, right, that you found a good mentor, kind of in that format. And today there's so many, coaching, mentorship programs, that kind of thing. And I'm a huge proponent of mentorship. We've talked a lot about it on this show. Mentors have been a big part of, I guess, not just my real estate journey, but kind of life in general. But I do think it has become an industry in and of itself, being a mentor, guru, creating a teaching program, things like that. And I think some of the challenges can be deciding which one is the right for you, right fit for you. Not that it's a good or a bad mentorship program. It's just which one is the right fit for you. And I think a lot of people lose sight of the sort of apprenticeship model, which is what you did. Go get a job. Like, even if that job means you have to go work for free for a little while to learn something. Because if you think about it, like if I'm out there looking for a mentorship program, and the reality is a lot of them are $10, $20, $30,000. I mean, like it's a big chunk of money. If I invest that, say $20,000 into a mentorship program, and it doesn't turn out to be the right fit for me, that's not better than working for free for someone, finding out it's not the right fit and moving on, right? It's just kind of, and so I think people do lose sight of those options, and you can find a good mentor that way, as you did, and it's a lasting relationship. So I think that there's really something to be said, something important. Mentorship is key to getting ahead and being successful, but finding the right mentors in whatever method that means, I think is huge.
100%, because I got lucky, right? And so part of my passion is I did not have the same experience that most agents have when they get into the business. And it was just luck. It wasn't, I can't say it was like, I planned it that way. But, I always tell people free is currency. My team, my mentor, his name's Ryan. I did whatever Ryan wanted me to do. I was with him and shadowed him every single day. And it's the same stuff that I tell any agent getting into the industry. Like, you need to volunteer your time. Free is a currency. You're giving your time, you're getting knowledge and information. And I can tell you that's what allowed me to grow my real estate business a lot quicker in year one, was because it was every day I just did whatever he needed, whatever he was doing. I was just shadowing him And I was, even though it wasn't my business at the time, I was being a real estate agent, and I was doing real estate agent activities through him, right? Through his
Right.
business. And so I had more experience than the average agent, and probably back then than the average agent that's been licensed for 2, 3, 4 years at that time, because of, just being in it every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I mean, everybody learns differently, but I do think most of the time you're going to learn the most by doing and being a part of the process, and kind of being, more and more exposure rather than just, hey, I'm going to watch this video, read this book, or whatever the case may be. At some point, you have to go ahead and put it into practice and actually do it, make some mistakes with mentorship and someone there to help hopefully minimize those mistakes. But the reality is we're going to ultimately perfect our crafts by doing. And so it's kind of getting to the doing earlier is potentially, I think, speeds up your timeline to being at a level of mastery. So I think that's a really powerful way to approach, I guess, getting into any industry, real estate or other.
Yeah. And, you mentioned something like, some mentorship programs can be expensive. And I tried to, again, this was just luck, right? Like, my experience is different. Like, the first real estate conference I went to, 2, 3 months after actually having my license. And so investing in yourself and in your business for me was just kind of the standard from the very beginning. I don't know anything else, right? Like, I have agents and no agents that have never been to a real estate conference. They've never wanted to invest, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to go and put themselves in this environment to learn for 3, 4, 5 days, right? And I want to encourage anyone that may be listening to this is, the one great thing about our industry as far as real estate agents go and sales is it doesn't take much to actually have a positive ROI.
Yeah.
So if that mentorship program is 10 grand, 15 grand, 30 grand, right? And it's an investment into you and your business. That's only a handful, depending on where you live, right? But that's only a handful of real estate transactions that you actually have to do each year in order to get that ROI back. And if you don't believe in yourself enough to be able to pull something out of that mentorship system, training, whatever it is, to do a handful of transactions, then, we need to work on the confidence level, right? And your self beliefs and what you can bring to the table in order to make that happen. So, I know people aren't for everyone, but I also see that investing in one business also paralyzes them from even making a decision one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've done mentorship programs. Still in mentorship programs. I fully believe in the strength of them. I think the challenge really becomes figuring out which one is right for you. And I think you kind of hit it on the head there too. None of those mentorship programs are just going to do it for you, right? Like, there's going to be materials. There's going to be, hopefully you're going to have, people to interact with and learn from. But at the end of the day, you still have to put in the work. And so it's going to be on you whether you get an ROI, right? Like, if you just spend your however much dollars and go to a real estate conference, or you join a mentorship group and then you don't do anything with it, well, that was never going to work, right?
Yeah.
One of the, I guess, another upside to that apprenticeship model is the accountability, right? If you're working for someone and you have expectations, or they have expectations of you, then it's going to be, a little bit of, kind of holding your hand to the fire. So I think, again, everybody learns differently and there's different ways to approach it. But I really like that, sort of concept of just getting in front of someone who's doing what you want to do. And if they'll let you do that with them for a while, that's a great position to be in.
Yeah, 100%.
So you started 2011. You've had good mentorship and things like that. Like, tell me a little bit about how your career path progressed. Sort of where you were in the beginning. You were kind of learning. I think you said his name was Ryan. Just like learning everything you could from Ryan, and but now obviously we're removed from that. What does it look like for you at this point, in your career path?
Yeah, and I'm still with Ryan, so he's still like he's our team lead. I basically run the team, right? And so I'll go. 2011, I started. I was actually his admin, so he paid me to be his admin while I was going through my real estate classes. And so I did real estate classes during the summer on the weekends, and I got licensed at the end of the summer of 2011, and sold a couple homes. The fall time of 2011, but really 2012 was my first, full year getting into the real estate side, being 100% commission, and sold 22 houses my first year. And, back then, we built it and still do it this way, but with internet leads, your Google AdWords and all of those things. And, looking back on it now, I appreciate being in the business at that time. Because as a 22-year-old, I had to make the 40, 50, 60-year-olds comfortable enough to buy a house again, because a lot of people, at that time came out of 08, 09, 2010 of losing their jobs, maybe losing their house, filing bankruptcy. And so it made me a better agent in having conversation skills and being able to show people that home ownership is still a great thing when done right. Right, with the proper education, with the proper people on your side advocating for you and making sure that you're making, the educated decision on the next home that you buy. And then, in theory, right, with time, the asset grows and you build wealth that way. And so, 2012, my first full year did 22 houses, and the whole idea was we were always planning on building a team. Right? We always think 10 years in the future, and we start doing the work today. And so what happened was, by default, I just got put into this position as we started to build the team, that I was the one that was in charge of training everyone, because I knew the systems. I was, I used them every single day. So naturally, Jon can teach you, right?
Yeah.
And so, I sold real estate, up until about 2019. Going into 2020, Ryan and I had sat down and said, okay, you can't really sell at that level and, really help the agents at this level that we need in order to take that next step. And so we kind of transitioned my role into just being more of, my title is just agent success at this point. It's just helping agents get on board, trained, write offers, how to navigate clients, all of those things. And, during COVID in 2021, obviously we had great years. And, right now we're up to 40, I think we're at 43 agents on our team. And so I still sell a little bit on the side, not a ton, but enough for me to stay in the market. And then my main focus is getting agents up and running on our systems and our team, and ultimately, helping them, find clients and help clients purchase and sell homes.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, honestly, that transition, just based on what you've told me in this short time, makes a lot of sense, right? Like you came through that sort of apprenticeship model as the apprentice, and now you're the mentor to these new agents, and it's, I think I feel the way that people get really good at something is then being able to teach it to someone else, right? So you learn it yourself, you sort of perfect how you do it, but then you really almost relearn it when it's time to teach to other people, and it becomes so ingrained in you, and find, you're able to find maybe different and even better ways to sort of perfect the craft.
Yeah. I mean, Jason, I believe in these three things. I believe that everyone should have a coach or a mentor. I believe that we all should be having a peer, meaning someone that's on the same level as you are, right? Walking the same path. And the third thing I believe is that you can coach and mentor anyone to get to where you're currently at. And I don't care if you just got licensed yesterday, you can teach someone how to go through the classes, right? And really the third thing, when I got to the point of teaching other agents, not just the CRMs, but how to speak to potential clients, how to actually speak to a client doing, once they become your client, right? Navigating offers, navigating contract situations, doing presentations. That was the second thing that really allowed me to grow a lot quicker, was because I had to understand my own business, my own tools, my own systems that I followed. I had to understand them in great detail, but I had to be able to explain it in a simplified way that someone that doesn't know what I'm talking about can understand it. And so that brought a little bit more clarity to me. And so that's the second kind of secret, right, that I always tell agents is go out and teach someone else. If you sold 5 homes, go find an agent that sold 1 last year. If you sold 50 homes, go find someone that did 25. And it just has done wonders for me and my growth.
Yeah, I think teaching someone else kind of takes you away from doing things just because that's the way you do them, to really investigating what you're doing, and you teaching someone, you start to teach them and they ask you questions and you're like, yeah, maybe that's not the best way we could do that. And you really start to, I think, just if you're willing to kind of look very introspectively at what you're doing, and kind of and just get that much better from there.
Yeah. With me coaching some agents now and doing some of that, you're spot on. I've learned a lot from people that I coach, just different ways of how they thought about building their business. What are some of the tools and things that they do? What are some of the follow-up practices or reach outs or lead generation things that they're doing? And so it works both ways, right? If you're coaching or teaching someone or mentoring someone, they're also possibly mentoring you as well, and they may not even know it.
Yeah. So as the, sort of, tell me again your title now.
I just say agent success.
All right. So as the agent success professor, if you will, you're working with new agents and sort of building your team. How do you see, I mean, the real estate market's a little crazy right now and has been for, I guess it was crazy in one direction and then it very rapidly switched to being crazy in the other direction. What do you see, the next 3 to 5 years looking like for you?
Crazy. I mean, the one thing about and this is what I tell agents, right? It's like, who do you, what's your environment, right? Who are you listening to? And in my market, I always tell people we're very fortunate. Columbus is growing. They expect population to grow by another 900,000 people in the next 25 years, right? And we have great industries coming to our city and all of those things. And I hear it all the time. Agents say, well, the market's down, the market's this, the market's that. Rates are high, right? Values are high. The reality is there's going to be over 25,000 homes that sell in Columbus, Ohio or Central Ohio in 2024. And I tell them you only need 15 to 20 to make a really good living, in our marketplace, right? So when I always put this into perspective, when I got into the business in 2011, and everyone would say that's a worse market than what it is now. Mm-hmm. In my market where I'm at, there were still 20,000 homes that sold, right? And so it's, who are you listening to? You get to make your own market, right? We have seasonality, meaning, the winter months are typically a little bit slower. They build up in the spring, summer's on fire, and then, it tails off a little bit in the fall. But that doesn't mean you have to have a slow winter, right? That doesn't mean your fall has to be slow. As an agent, as a business owner, you get to decide what your market is. It's just whether or not you want to put in the work, right, to set your own market. And so for us, what we're looking for is we're looking for expansion. We're in growth mode no matter what, because we understand that real estate never stops. Sales are going to happen, right? The way that you have to maneuver within the market may change a little bit. But at the end of the day, our job as real estate agents is to find buyers and sellers and investors, but investors are a little bit different. But buyers and sellers that absolutely have to do something, right? They have to move. They don't have a choice. a job relocation, a divorce, a death in the family, right? Maybe someone's getting married, someone just had a kid, a job relocation, right? All of those things. What happened in 2020, 2021, and the first part of 2022 was people were just moving because they were making so much money on a sale of a home or getting such cheap rates that it just made sense, right? People moved just to move. People don't move just to move. They didn't before 2020 and they don't after 2022. Right. And so that it just goes back to, we have to find the people that absolutely have to do something within real estate. The investors, that's a whole nother ball game, right? That's just really getting, if you want to work in the investor space, that's just getting really intentional with what an investor is looking for and what makes them say yes to a deal. And then you just have to go and find the deal.
Yeah. I love that you said that. I think that, the reality is if you want to be successful, you can be successful. It doesn't matter. The market really doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's just, you might have to change your strategy, like you said, but it really doesn't matter. You were saying that about, sort of people move for a reason. And I was thinking about it and I was like, that is actually like always been the case. Like really always, like people move people don't just move because it's like, oh, it's fun. I really like packing up all my stuff, putting it on a truck, going somewhere else, unpacking it, get set. Like nobody likes to move. I've never heard anyone say, yep, I like moving. They move because they have to. And it's like even in 20, you say 2020 to 2022, there was a reason. And it was to harvest a bunch of money, yep, because their house was, but it was still like, there's still a lot of people that didn't, yep, you know what I mean? There are like still plenty of people, but people will move because they have to move, whether the rates are high or low. It doesn't really matter. Like if you have a job opportunity across the country and you're going to get paid twice as much, you're going to sell your house and you're going to move to, like, it's just things like that are going to happen. And it's just a part of life. So yeah, it is just reframing your perspective on how you see your, whatever it is, if you're trying to be successful as an agent, but really like whatever thing you're trying to accomplish, you just have to reframe how it looks in terms of what does it take to accomplish that. And yeah, a couple of years ago, it wasn't super hard to sell a bunch of houses, but now it's probably what it was before that time. You know what I mean? Like, and so people that didn't become real estate agents in 2021 can just revert back to what they were doing in 2018 and 2019 and think, okay, it's that again, right? The rates, I mean, when you came into it in 2011, the rates were what, probably about 10%, somewhere in that range, like maybe slightly less.
They weren't high. I think they were in the fives, if I remember. But
were they down to $5? I mean, I know.
But even then, right? Like, I got in and Ryan sold foreclosures. So he had a portfolio of foreclosures that he sold off. And, I cut my teeth selling foreclosures, dealing with short sales, working with investors. And, a lot of people would look at us back then and be like, why are you selling these $30,000 homes or these $15,000 homes? And for us, it was just another way for us to make money selling houses. And that's what we needed to do, right, in order to get through that time. And then obviously now there's no more foreclosure. Well, there are foreclosures starting to come back a little bit, but then we moved out of the foreclosure space and out of the short sale space and out of, that space. And we did more traditional real estate. And, at the end of the day, we all got complacent during COVID in 2021, right? We forget what it was like to actually have to go and find the business and it not just kind of land in our laps. And right now we're in that marketplace and moving forward, we'll be in that marketplace to where we will continue to have to find the business of the people that need our help.
Yeah, that's it. You make money solving problems.
Yes.
Any industry across the board, you make money solving problems. And if it's selling real estate, it's people that need to sell. That's the problem that you're solving. So it's, I just think that's a fantastic perspective on it. Well, John, let me switch gears. I want to ask you the questions I ask every guest, and the first one, you mentioned it right at the beginning. Is the show is Know Your Why, and so I always ask everybody, what is your why? And you mentioned that it's sometimes hard to figure that out, and also it can evolve over time, and that's
Yeah.
been something that, that when you said that, it resonates with me because I have experienced that myself, and interestingly have experienced that through like the guests as well that I've had on the podcast, because some people, their why is they talk about, well, here it was, financial freedom,
Yeah.
here it's legacy, here's it's whatever it is. And so I think it depends on life stage, but yeah, tell me a little bit about what your why is. What's driving you?
Yeah. Right now it's, there's an 87% failure rate of real estate agents by the end of year 2. And so mine is to positively impact the failure rate in our industry. And again, part of that is because I got lucky, right? I know I did not have the traditional new agent experience of the struggle, of the worry, of the not knowing what to do, the ability of not, having CRMs and systems and admin and all of those things, right? Like for me, I know I was lucky. And so what I'm trying to do now is to be that resource that Ryan was for me, but at a wider scale, right? And in the beginning of my career, it was, I just want to make money and, live a certain lifestyle. And what I found is, I like helping people buy and sell real estate, but I love helping agents change their lives and their families' lives through real estate, right? And I always say real estate's not hard. It's fairly simple, right? Because it always comes down to this. How many real estate conversations did you have today? Right? The hard part is most agents don't know how to create those conversations. The hard part is that you have to do it consistently. The hard part is you have to go outside of your comfort zone sometimes to make it happen. The hard part is sometimes you feel like you're on an island, if you're at your brokerage or at a team or whatever the case may be. The hard part is sometimes you aren't surrounded by the right people in your environment. And I don't mean just in real estate. I mean in your personal environment, of just negative people. The hard part is sometimes you don't have the capital to do the investing, right? And so for me, the failure rate should not be 87%. Because if the idea is, it's, Jason, how many real estate conversations have you had today with people? It doesn't matter how it happens. And so what I help coach and help teach and what I try to get across to real estate agents is clarity around what are the best ways for you to lead generate, not the best ways that I did it, but the best ways that you can do it based off of your personality, based off of your hobbies, based off of your interests. Because business always comes down to people that know you, like you, and trust you. And so if I have you in environments where you are more comfortable, that you enjoy, and it's around hobbies or interests that you do, well, I already got you in a spot where you're probably going to be connecting with like-minded people. And so then it comes down to, can I get them to like me? To get them to know me, I just got to show up in front of them more often. And then how do I get them to trust me? Is I have to be an expert in real estate. So when I speak with them, they understand that I know real estate. And so, for example, one of my agents, he's big on fishing. I told him, hey, get active into fishing Facebook groups, right? And he's in some of these fishing Facebook groups. And he had 2 transactions happen. It ended up being a sell and a buy, right? And how it started was he literally saw a photo in these fishing groups of someone who he thought he knew. And so he took a screenshot of that photo and sent it to the guy and said, hey, is this you? If so, congratulations on the fish, right? On the catch or whatever. And the guy's like, no, that's not me, but it sure does look like me. Small talk, whatever. A couple of days go by. That guy reaches back out to him and says, hey, you sell real estate, right? And he's like, yeah. Hey, we're thinking about selling and buying. Turns out to be about 1.1 million in volume, which in our markets, average sales price is $350. And so, just by him being involved, right, or in an environment where it's something that he enjoys doing, the prospecting became a little bit easier. If you are an outgoing person, I'm not going to have you make phone calls and internet leads, right? You need to be doing open houses, going to networking events, putting on seminars. You need to be in an environment where you've never met a stranger before, right? Someone like me,
Smart.
it's not going to work. I can't do open house. Well, I shouldn't say I can't do it. Open houses are a struggle for me because it's not my ideal environment based off of my personality.
Right.
And I think so many times agents think that they have to be in this box. You got to call for sale by owners, or you got to call internet leads, or you got to do open houses. And it's like, no, all of it works. It comes down to how many conversations you want to have today. Let's put you in the best possible position based off of your personality, what you like doing. And if I can do that more consistent, then you are going to get the results.
Yeah, no, that's a very smart approach. And I think it just goes back to kind of, we're talking about, saying everybody learns in a different way or what, and you're right. You need to, not only they learn in a different way, but they can be successful in different areas, yes. Different approaches to essentially a different approach maybe to solving the same problem, which is, again, selling houses and helping people with that need to transact, whether it's buy or sell. So I think that makes a ton of sense, and I really like that sort of approach to the mentoring that you do. The second question for you, Jon, is a little more lighthearted, but tell us something about yourself that isn't common knowledge. Special skill, a hobby, something just to let listeners know you a little bit better.
Well, I moved. I went to 3 different schools growing up. So I think, looking back on that probably has helped me a little bit in my real estate career. Have done a lot of camping and exploring the United States growing up. And so I'm trying to just recently got my wife into doing that with me in the last 2-3 years. So, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, what's crazy is I love sports, grew up playing sports, and I think that's why I work in a team environment within real estate. But, for me, real estate has been my whole life. I don't know anything else other than, this is just what I did. This has been my career. So, I eat, breathe, and sleep it.
Yeah. It's, have you been to Yosemite? Have you gotten to Yosemite yet?
No, but we've done, all the way up to Maine, down to Florida, out to Yellowstone, the Badlands. I haven't really hit the West Coast and the Southwest yet, but yeah, we've, my parents had that map and you put the states in and, all that kind of stuff. So
you got to get to Yosemite. It's, I mean, I haven't been to everyone, but it's amazing. It's pretty incredible, from a hiking, just being outside type of space.
People are like, I want to go to different countries. I'm like, you guys don't even know what you're missing here in the United States. Right. Like first I got to hit everything in the United States first.
Yeah. It is funny that there's so much here that I think sometimes we overlook because we're here. I mean, it's just a little bit of a side, but it's like, I grew up in Boston, and my wife's from Charlotte, North Carolina. And the first time I ever brought her to Boston, I was like, what do you want to do? Anything you haven't? And she's like, she did some looking. She's like, I want to go on the duck boat tours. So I'd lived in Boston for over 30 years. I had never been on a duck boat tour. And I was like, well, that sounds ridiculous. And it is like one of the coolest things you can do. So she's like, no, I really want to do it. I was like, it was pretty amazing. So it's just kind of funny. Like that's a, micro example of that phenomenon. It's like, we're in the US, we're here all the time. And it's like, you forget like what's actually around you, and very accessible. And it's like, you don't necessarily have to go to another country. It's fine, go to another country, but like, there's so much right here, right at our feet that to be seen. So it's pretty cool.
And crazy and like crazy things, right? Crazy landscapes, like things that you wouldn't even imagine, like the Badlands. I mean, I was younger. I was like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old or whatever it was. But, the memory of what the Badlands looked like, like this is, United States.
Yeah. It's a pretty amazing place. How when people hear this and they want to reach out to you, what's the best way?
The best way is just to go to thejonharp.com. and that's JONHARP.com. On that link, you should be able to find all of my social media stuff, some of the coaching stuff that I do. That'd be the best way to connect with me.
Okay, great. And we'll get that in the show notes so people can find you easily. Jon, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've really enjoyed the conversation. I think a lot of just really important concepts for people that, certainly if they want to become a real estate agent, but also just in general ways to sort of approach learning and growing in something that might be new to you. So thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Jason. It's been a blast. Loved connecting with you, and I'm sure we'll stay in touch afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks listening, I know you're going to love this episode. Please like, rate, and review the show so that we can get more great guests like Jon, and thank you all for listening.
Hey there, I am Dr. Jason Balara, and this is the Know Your Why podcast, where we explore the why behind success. Every week, I meet with real estate investors, veterinary entrepreneurs, mindset coaches, authors, and fitness professionals to uncover their why and how it drives them on the winding road to success. What is your why?